The Auto Club 500 on Fox is presented by Quaker State. Tough enough for race day, tough enough for every day. Real, durable oil.
I believe this is only the second Cup race we've had in a long time here in California with a green flag run of more than 60 laps. We'll double check that.
This thing in the middle of the race, it'll generally go pretty long.
Jeff Gordon, your leader. Greg Biffle, 2.3 seconds back. Jimmy Johnson, 4 seconds off the lead. Matt Kenseth fourth. Kurt Busch in fifth.
Even as durable and as dependable as these engines and cars are, you still have to pace yourself a little bit in the middle part of the race so that you got some car left at the end of the day.
Now, earlier we had a couple of drivers talking, Darrell, about carburetor trouble.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things a tuner does to get better gas mileage, and particularly on a super speedway like this. And I think if we go down to the cutaway car and down to Jeff Hammond, Jeff, you got a carburetor down there? You can show the people what we're talking about.
Yes, I do, Darrell. I got a couple of them here. Now, you were mentioning a minute ago, you were talking about the boosters and the squirters and some of the things the guys can do. First off, here is a booster. This is what kind of pulls fuel down inside the carburetor itself. Let me show you on this beautiful Roush Yates engine we have here exactly what a booster does do. You come out of where the fuel is kept through the jets, it flows up through here and is pulled down into the carburetor. Now, guys can change that booster, make it a little bit more lean. They can also change the squirter, which when you're pumping the throttle makes a difference. Now, Darrell, you talked about the rear pump. You can loosen that up a little bit. Again, it won't pump as much fuel. But what happens is when you get to low speed and you're working the throttle right in here, a lot of times when you throw it wide open, it stumbles. It doesn't get enough fuel and air mixture to do it justice. Until you get it wide open and it's really pulling a lot of air and fuel down through this carburetor, all of a sudden the driver complains about it stumbling, not running clean. This is some of the things that the engine guy has done to try to get the fuel mileage, but at the same time, a lot of drivers don't like it.
You know the most amazing thing about that whole piece? You ask Hammond, did he have a carburetor?
He had how many carburetors?
It's like asking the preacher, does he have a Bible?
Yeah, how many carburetors did he have anyway?
He's got all kinds of carburetors.
They're all cut in pieces. None of them work.
But it was he was showing the folks that's a racing carburetor.
Right.
If you raised the hood on your car today, you probably wouldn't see a carburetor quite like that.
Not
and that's
since about 1992.
Yeah, that's the other fascinating thing about these engines in these cars. They are push rod engines. They're naturally aspirated on a carburetor like you saw. They turn 9,500 RPM, and they live forever.
Hang in there, but I know they're killing you down there, but nobody coming out back.
Steve.
Mike, that 16 team led by Greg Irwin doing a great job getting that car for Greg Biffle better and better. Just a second ago, Greg said, you give me just a little bit more grip off the corners and you'll fix me right up.
All right. David Reagan may need a little fix-up. Let's have a look at the number 6.
He's running that high line.
Whoa, that's
and the car just got loose.
A little wee bit too high.
Yep. He almost got up there where there's just no grip whatsoever.
I think he picked up a lot of, even at that high, you got to get a lot of sand and dirt and debris on your tires and the car won't cut.
What are they saying, Krista?
Really not much at all, Mike. Yep, he got up into the wall. They asked, how does the car look? Spotter Toby Weldon said the car looks okay. David Reagan really running right now about where he customarily runs here at California in 4 starts. It ranges from 12th to 16th. So this is customary, but he knows he has a really good car. But again, they told him it looks okay.
Yeah. He had made his way up into the top 10 not that long ago. Now he's fallen back to 14th. But, you know, back to something that Darrell was talking about an 8-cylinder engine with a 4-barrel naturally aspirated carburetor. I get questioned all the time by fans with today's passenger cars mainly being fuel injection. Why do we not go to fuel injection with these Sprint Cup Series cars? NASCAR, as we have pointed out time and time again, they work so hard to keep the cost of this sport to the owners in the sport. And if they went away from that carburetor to fuel injection, that would cost the owners so much money to develop that it would just drive the cost way.
And there's another good reason. You can measure every part on a carburetor. You cannot measure as easily the computer that controls fuel injection. And NASCAR does not want computers on board these race cars.
But I know this is the car tomorrow, and eventually we're going to be working on the engine of tomorrow, because technology tells us we need to move to another level.
So you mean Hammond's carburetors are going to be outdated?
That's when we got problems.
Jeff Gordon is your leader. We're closing in on halfway.
The Auto Club 500 on Fox, presented by Quaker State, is sponsored by Viagra. By KFC. Now get 10 great KFC tastes starting at 99 cents on the new KFC value menu. By Toyota, moving forward. And by Sprint. Get NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile only from Sprint, only on the Now Network.
Jeff Gordon, your leader, by 3/4 of a second over Greg Biffle. We are 7 laps from halfway, and we have 21 of the 43 starters still on the lead lap. Battle for 7th place right here. Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards.
Well, of the two vehicles he raced yesterday, the Nationwide car and the truck, I never saw him out of shape at any point in time. I never saw two better handling vehicles.
Well, I've seen him out of shape in this race just a few laps ago.
Yeah, today, watch this.
Just kissed it coming off turn 2.
The wall actually wedged right there, and he could just splatter right in there.
Hey, you know, Mike, you mentioned we're about 6 laps from halfway. We have basically, as we're getting close to some green flag stops, David Stremme in the 12 car, but we have 41 of the 43 cars still on the racetrack. Scott Riggs is back out there 9 laps down.
Now, in the last round of green flag pit stops, David Stremme was the first car to pit, and he is yet again, as this battle for 7th rages on.
Yeah, the Dodges are another one of the makes that when you look back at last year and the year before, they tend to get on the low side of fuel mileage, a lot like the Toyotas. It looks like the Chevrolets and the Fords get the best mileage.
Now these two guys, Carl and Kyle, here at the end of last night's race, Carl was leading the race, and Kyle put a little shove on him to take the lead away right at the end of the race. So, but obviously no harm, no foul, because they're racing each other very nicely and politely here.